What is going on, guys? Dork Gaming here, and I'm bringing you my review of Octavia's Anthem. Now, let's talk a little bit about my Valkyrie. Or not, because that's not the point. So, about a week ago, I uploaded the second part of Octavia's Anthem right here, if it finally loads in. There we go. So, let's review this quest. First, we'll start with the negatives, then we'll go to the positives, and finally, I'll give my overall scoring of the quest itself. So, negatives. Let's start off with the boss fight, where I had a couple of issues with. The boss fight felt very dull. I know I was focused when I was doing it, but I wasn't actually that focused to begin with. Because there was no, like, complexity, I think that's the word I'm looking for, in the quest, or rather the boss fight. It was very monotone. It was just a giant death beam that was circling around, and you just had to jump on tiny little platforms that, by the way, are also very bad for a fast-paced game. And you just had to kind of spray and pray around the direction of these sentient fighters that would spawn in to knock you off the platforms and kind of mess up the song that you were creating. The fight felt very monotone. There was no unique attacks. There was nothing, really. I mean, we're fighting Hun-Ho, for Christ's sake. And sure, he's just a data version of himself, but it's still Hun-Ho. And it makes very little sense for him to be easily defeated like that without showing off some really cool house tricks and magic and whatnot. So, next part of the boss fight that I did not enjoy. I felt like I was barely doing anything. Sure, you were kind of opening up possibilities to attack Hun-Ho, but it still felt as if you weren't the one that was actually doing all the damage, and indeed you weren't. You literally just cycled around and made the Octavia's Anthem, and after you did, you just watched as Ordis and eventually Samaris as well attacked Hun-Ho, and he just kind of disintegrated into particles and data. Which is not nice, because, I mean, come on. It's a giant sentient. You're supposed to allow the Tenno to slay the damn fucking thing. But no, you just had to make sure that we didn't even touch it. And I did not enjoy that, because you literally feel like you're just on the side, and you're not really doing much. The next part that I did not like about the boss fight was, why the hell is not Suda in there? Sure, Hun-Ho actually brainwashed and controlled Suda. You're damaging Hun-Ho during the entirety of the boss fight, and you're also playing the Anthem for her. Which, if you recall, while you were in the Void Tower, she kind of came back to you. Kind of. Very little. So, it's like, come on. I felt like that was a very wasted opportunity to make a way for Suda to be fighting Hun-Ho while you were helping her do that. And it would kind of also negate the fact that you weren't doing much to begin with, because you're not supposed to be doing much. The main fight was supposed to be between Hun-Ho and Suda, not between Samaris and Ordis trying to free Suda, which was just barely doing anything to begin with. And I feel like that's not good. Because you're really not putting Suda out there to really be part of the final boss fight, where I feel like she should have been in some of those situations. But anyway, let's move on to probably the last thing that I'll mention, which is we had no information given to us about Octavia herself. The only thing we got about Octavia was, quite literally, that she has a mandicord and she plays music on it. And also that she has something to do with Suda, because Suda knew about the mandicord. Anything else you want to give us? Quite literally, anything? Because we got nothing. We had absolutely nothing in terms of what Octavia was doing. How did Octavia just happen to disintegrate? Or is she still alive and just some kind of like in the ether or the void or something like that? Where is she? What happened to her? What was her like? What was she doing? What was her task? At one point in the quest, you do hear Hun-Ho say to the fighters, the sentient fighters, to stop you from coordinating like they did once before. That kind of has me speculating that Octavia's the one that was that coordinated the Tenno to slay the Orokin in, as we can see in our little friends, the Stalker, as we can see right here in his codex entry. I'm just going to leave this on the background for a little while. So, what happened with Octavia? Like, there's nothing that we get about her. And this kind of worries me because it follows suit to the previous quest before Octavia's Anthem, the Glass Gambit, which is not good. Octavia's Anthem and Glass Gambit were both kind of like just out of the blue. Here, have a Warframe blueprint. Sure, Octavia's Anthem kind of improved upon the Glass Gambit issue where you quite literally just got a Nidus blueprint out of nowhere, while here it does have to do, it has something to do with Octavia, but it's not like the Silver Grove. If you recall, in the Silver Grove, we found out who was creating Titania, who created the Warframes. And we also found out how did Titania happen to, well, wither away, if you'd like to say it that way. And why we got her blueprint from who we got it from. While we have no idea what happened with Octavia, we have no idea what happened with Nidus. And that kind of like, it triggers me, if you want to call it that, just because we don't get any information on the Warframes themselves. It's kind of like Jorda's Precept, not Patient Zero, because I don't think you get Mace's blueprint from that. Like, really good quests where you learn about the background of the Warframe and what they did and their personalities and whatnot. I would have to say those are hidden messages where you learn about Mirage, Sayings of Inaros where you learn about Inaros, and the Limbo Theorem where you learn about Limbo. The New Strange could also be in there because you learn a little bit about Chroma. There we go. So, I did not like that fact, but that's all we have for negatives. So let's go on into positives. The quest itself was very enjoyable. The missions felt alive, really. You really felt like it was all happening in real time, and it wasn't like a pre-recorded thing. That's good, because it's a mission. Or not a mission, it's a quest. So it obviously should feel alive. You also have the fact that after you finish the quest, you get incentive to go on and play another quest, which is The War Within. To play Octavia's Anthem, you need to finish the second dream. To build Octavia, you need Kuva. And to get Kuva, you need to finish the War Within. So that's incentive already to go and finish the War Within, which in turn, if you go over here... And, I need to do that one. If you go over here, let me really quick. Is it Neptune or Uranus? I have not done these junctions in forever, so I cannot recall if it's here or before. It's before. So, on the Uranus to Neptune junction, you get the second dream. On the Pluto to Sedna junction, you get the War Within. That's an entire 2 new planets that you'll get to unlock in case that you don't touch Sedna, just because you need to do the War Within, and that's perfect. That's incentive to go and do more things, and I like that. And it kind of makes you want to go on and continue the quests, because obviously there's quests locked behind the War Within that you then can go ahead and play. So that's what I have for that. Of course, there was a small miscalculation, I believe, on DE's side of things, where There was the whole bug with the transference not doubling your resources, so you couldn't get double Kuva, and on console they released 4K Kuva alerts, which in turn allowed you to build Octavia before the War Within if you were active during those alerts. If you weren't, well, too bad, you'll have to do the War Within anyway. So I'm trying to think of something else to say positive. Of course, there's not just those few things that are positive. Again, the quest was very lively. You felt like it was actually happening before your eyes. There was a couple occasions where that wasn't the case, but what can you do? And you also had the feeling that, well, I really need to finish this quest because it's fucking amazing. That's not actually a thing, it's just me.
New alert marked on navigation, Tenno.
Yeah, whatever, Lotus. Now, let's go on and move on to the final score for Octavia's Anthem. Judging with everything that I've already said, judging by the Warframe that you get at the end, and basically what the quest offers you, what in terms of gameplay, lore, rewards, I'd give it a solid 6. Yes, that's very harsh, but it's very harsh because, first of all, the quest itself is not situated around the Warframe that it's supposed to be situated around, but it's actually situated around the Cephalon, Suda. It's situated around Suda and not Octavia. Sure, those two are, like, conjoined in some sort of way, but it doesn't count. They should have called it Suda's Memories or something like that, because it's literally about Suda and not Octavia. The final boss fight, which is a very crucial and important thing in every goddamn quest, felt very monotone. There was very little special attacks, and it wasn't really all about timing, it was just basically hop around like a bunny, with no real problem. There was no punishment if you failed something or whatnot, and the boss fight felt very monotone, and you didn't do much to begin with to actually fight the boss. So that's all I have to say about Octavia's Anthem. If you enjoyed this review, please do give the video a like. If you didn't, please do give it a dislike. If you enjoyed this so much that you'd like to see more, please consider subscribing because it will help you keep track of when I upload. And since it's summer, I should be uploading kind of regularly now. Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.